So this is the
Yeah.
second podcast for yourmusicplug.com, and this is Rosemary Fernandez, who is multi-talented and has been through a lot of stuff like acting, singing, artist programming, has been on a reality show. So just give us a brief, Rosemary.
Okay, so I actually started off modeling and then I branched into acting, which was a very sudden and drastic change. It was very new to me, the whole glamour industry. And yeah, that's how I bagged my first reality show, and I was really happy and ecstatic when I got it. And it was a really memorable journey, and it was a really fun experience. And yeah, that actually helped me a lot. It gave me a little platform to kickstart my career. But obviously, over time, it's been 6 years since I did the reality show. For now, yeah, I did it in 2014. Now I've actually taken a backseat from acting, and I'm only into programming events for Rasta, where I'm currently working. And yeah, it's been a really fun journey, because I've been in this entertainment industry from 2010 in India, that is, and it's been one hell of a roller coaster ride because you get to meet a lot of like really funny people and some real creeps, which really make you question your existence in the industry. And you know, I was very new to it, and I did not have like a godfather. I did not have any like someone I could go up to and ask like how do I deal with this? How do I deal with this situation? I try to deal with them myself, and over time, I think that kind of like made this created this perception in my mind that not everyone is nice, and probably why I took a backseat and I've stepped away from the acting bit. But yeah, I mean, curating the events for us has been a lot of fun because I kind of meet a lot of like-minded people there, and it's amazing. Like I wouldn't trade it for anything else at the moment.
Yes, and so what is the difference between the scene from since 2010 and now in 2020? Because the situation now is too hectic and not suitable for events or suitable for venues or suitable for programmers like you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's been, I mean, the way the pandemic started, uh, like I was aware of it from like late March, early Feb, sorry, late Jan, early Feb, and whoever used to walk by or walk past me, even sneezing, I would just say, coronavirus. But I never knew it would turn out to be such a big thing, and it would turn out to, bring the whole world to a standstill overnight. Like no one expected a virus, with technology and science which has evolved so much, to not be able to handle a virus, and especially of this caliber, who would have thought? But yeah, a lot of artists have suffered. The entertainment, the F&B, the travel and tourism. I think these are the industries that have been hit the most. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take a while to come back, but I'm sure they will. So a lot of venues have shut down. A lot of places have gone like bankrupt because obviously no one knew that something of this sort was going to happen, and they were not like mentally and financially or in whatever ways prepared to deal with this kind of a situation. And I know artists have been doing a lot of these live streams on Facebook and Instagram, um, to just get that practice on, get that ball rolling for themselves. And I've been seeing a lot of artists who are also doing this, what's it called? I forgot what it's called. The tip jar, which is a really, really good initiative, which has been started by a couple of old school artists in the industry. Uh, there is one DJ Russell who I know of who plays at row number one. He's a retro DJ, and I remember very well. He started off with a virtual tip jar. I don't think he was the first one who started, but he was the first one who I came across, and I saw that okay, there's something called the virtual tip jar, which is really cool.
What's it? Virtual
Tip jar. So
tip
basically,
jar.
if you're watching an artist on Facebook. Suppose now,
Yeah.
Srinath, you are uh, probably doing a karaoke session, or you're DJing for that, you're doing a 1 hour set. instead of playing for free, like a free show, you charge people whatever they want. Like, how if you're a busker, you get paid like $1.
Yeah,
Similarly, people are be like tipping $100 or $200 or whatever. So, and yeah, a lot of artists also created like this whole union on Facebook. I know because I was following it very closely that we are all going to play for free, even if it's on Facebook or Instagram. And then obviously Facebook and Instagram had the whole copyright issue, which is why now you can't play your live sets on Instagram. However, you can play it on Facebook if you produce a disclaimer at the start of your live session, or you get muted in the middle of. So those have
right.
been a lot of challenges faced by artists, not only when it comes to like playing live sets on main stage, but also when they're trying to play from their main stage, which is their home during this pandemic. Social media platforms have not been 100% supportive in this situation. But you can't blame them. Everyone's trying to make a quick buck.
Right, right. And so, what made you shift into artist programming or getting into events and all?
So I was working for a fashion agency for quite a bit, and it was nowhere close to music. It was only like fashion, glamour. That was really fun. I loved every bit of it, but then eventually I had to leave for my own personal reasons. And then I was a regular at Rasta ever since it started in 2016, and I used to be there almost every weekend and almost every karaoke night and every like hip hop night for Proof, the Boombox Wednesday night. And yeah, I mean, there was this one time in 2018 when I just happened to go there and they were looking up for someone, and I said, yeah, I'm interested. Uh, I don't mind giving this a shot. And it was home. I had this connection with that place. It was a feeling over. And when you feel for a place, you want to do it. When
Yeah.
you feel for a place, when you have that kind of like homely feeling towards it, you want to do everything and anything to see it grow. And that's what I think I did. I gave in my 2 bits and helped it grow as much as it could. We did some really fun events. You've been a part of one as well, and that was
Yes.
a real hit. I loved it. It was a lot of Afro one. That's my kind of scene for like a Saturday night.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. So,
Yeah,
like, when did you join Rasta?
2018. So I joined the 28th of Feb 2018, and there was a gig happening that night. It was called Delhi to Dublin, and I think that was the first time I actually watched them play at Rasta, and they were insane. It was like a three-piece band, and they had this Punjabi folk, however you call it, Canadians who are from Punjab or whatever. So, and there was one, I think she was an Irish girl who was playing the violin, and there was one who was playing the nagada, and there was one who was playing the dhol. And that was a really, really, really fun night. And I remember the place being entirely packed, and I did not have place to watch it. So I kept like running towards the bar on the fifth floor, and then I kept running to the top stage just to, get a little peek at what was happening. So yeah, we've had really fun nights. We hosted Apache Indian, we hosted Nuclear in 2017 when I was not a part of the company at that. 2016, we had hosted Christina Novelli in 2018, and we hosted Apache Indian, Nuclear. We've had a bunch of really good artists come down. Just before the pandemic in February, we hosted Anish Sood, and we had Vikin Amit, and we have some really great sundowners on Sunday, and I can't wait for them to restart once this pandemic is done with.
Yeah. So, like, are there any news about Rasta opening up again?
I can't really tell. I mean, I don't really know myself but I'm sure we will restart soon, and when we come in, we're going to have like some of the finest acts put out for a whole week.
Yes. And you also did some singing gigs at Rasta, and you hosted a few of the karaoke nights too. So, what is the
Yeah.
experience, and what do you think that this culture is leading to? Like,
I haven't hosted the karaoke nights at Rasta because we have half try karaoke been doing that ever since they opened. But I think every night has its own little X factor, you know. Like on Mondays, we have some really good singers who come down there and they do some really good tracks. And then, you know, there are some of those bathroom singers who muster up some courage after having some of the liquid courage, like I call it. And Mondays are nice. We have Tuesday bachata nights hosted by Cornel and Ritika. Again, those are really fun nights. We have about 100 odd couples on both floors. And Wednesdays, hip hop nights, boombox Wednesdays, you've been to them, hosted by Proof, you know, and Thursdays, ladies night. So that's again a very fun night, and that we dedicate solely to soca, dancehall, afro, and yeah, Friday, Saturday again, or weekends again. You've done one of the nights there, and Sundays are meant for sundowners on the rooftop. And we start at 4:20 and we go on till there's no definite time.
Yeah. So from if you had to choose a genre, like you always vibe to, which genre it would be?
That would be dancehall.
Dancehall. So like you have hosted many dancehall gigs around here. So which artist or which event or feature do you like about it?
Okay, I'll be very honest. I really love General Zeus. I love
Yeah.
Major C. I love them, and I think they shaped one artist really well, and that's DJ D2. I think D2 is doing a fabulous job in what he's doing, and D2 needs to be recognized a lot more because this boy has a lot of potential, and he just needs a little boost to put it out there. You know, he's a really fine MC, and he has a great taste in music, and maybe I'm just being partial because I love that music, but. Yeah, you know D2 as well, and you know he's a really good artist, and he needs that too.
Yeah. So when when hosting an event or when having artists from different cities, what particular features or what particular vibe do you prefer when having them?
So firstly, what I look at is I try to see the artist's energy, even if I'm on call with that person, you know, and I'm trying to put the artist on call. To be very honest, I don't think this is something that everybody looks at, but that's something that I look at. Um, I need to see that person. I need to see that person as because the person is going to be a dead duck on stage, you know, and just you can't get the crowd moving. You can't get people to move just to your music if you're going to have a DJ. You know, that way we can just plug in a pen drive and play music and expect people to dance to it. You need to be a really good MC. You need to have a good command over the mic. You know, and yeah, basically when people are dying out and the club's about to shut, you need to be able to pump up, and get them to get that other drink, chuck that other LIT and get another one and dance, So yeah, I think that's that. And I know of a lot of energetic MCs. Again, I would say T2 is one. I've seen that guy like jump on our main stage, and I've thought so many times that he's going to fall off the fifth floor and land on the fourth floor. Because he does these high knee jumps, high jumps where his knees are like touching his chin, and I'm like, dude, calm down.
Yeah, so you love reggae, dancehall, soca vibe,
Yeah, yeah.
and we talked with General Zeus also that General Zeus is promoting the genre for almost 12 years now.
Yeah,
So
and Zeus had done this really fun track recently that No Corona.
yeah, yeah.
That was really fun one.
Yeah, so what do you think, according to genre wise, the music industry is moving to a specific genre, or it's getting more independent and all independent artists are coming up?
To be very honest, I don't know how to answer that question because we cater to almost all kind of music at our place because we dedicate Fridays to, we keep hip hop. Sometimes we try to experiment on the Friday night. We've done we've done these bass nights, we've done techno nights, we've done hip hop nights, we've experimented everything on a Friday night. Saturday we keep it very hip hop commercial. Again on Sunday, we have house, we have Sarvesh. He's been 7 months have been off and I've forgetting people's names. We do the Pineapples Party once a month, and that covers almost all genres, and that's one of the most fun nights of the month, and we really look forward to that night. Like the last Pineapples we had was on Holi, and it started at 10 a.m. Started at about 10, 11 a.m. and it went on till 9:30 at night. We went on for 12 hours, and it was insane because I was there from 6:30 in the morning, and by 5 o'clock in the evening I could not stand. But we had the rooftop pack, we had all the floors, they were jam packed. It was a really fun night. And if you've come for any of the Pineapples, you know that's one of the most fun and houseful nights we have.
Yes,
With
yes.
Six Flip. Pineapples is hosted by Sarvesh, Six Flip.
Yeah,
And he's another really fun and energetic artist. He really knows how, he's a real crowd pleaser, you could say.
right, right. And if someone new to this artist programming stuff, what would be your advice? Like, how should you go about? How should you approach people? What features do they want? Like when pitching for the venue and all.
Again, I think I've just learned that over experience, and I would still say that I'm still in the learning process. Because every day is a new day and every day is a new challenge. But I also try to look up for these new budding artists, who are very shy to play on stage.
Yes.
We had this one little boy who I played. I don't know if you know of this boy, DJ Atom. He's 11
No.
years old.
Oh, great, great.
Atom bass boy. So he's the youngest DJ, and he's a tiny little cute baby. And if you see him in the crowd, you wonder what is the kid doing at the club. And suddenly he'll go to the console, he'll take the mic, and he'll start playing the track. And when he plays the track, he'll think, "Oh my God, it's like a veteran playing." And when he takes the mic to shout out to the crowd, you'll hear a little baby speak on the mic, and you'll be like, "Wow, this kid has so much talent." So I love scouting out for younger talent. Maybe not that young, but he's one of a kind. And there have been a lot of other young DJs who played who just come out of DJ school and they're looking up for a little platform. We try to put them as an opening act or something, so just to help them boost their morale, to help them add that to their discography, and they can grow from there. There's no harm in helping someone out.
Right, right. And so, what are you looking forward in the music industry scene from now? And what do you think about like when all events will start?
That I can't give you a definite answer about, but I'm very sure it's only going to start off once the vaccine kicks out, because you know very well when there's good music, everybody wants to have a drink, and once there's a drink in the system, they don't care about social distancing. Everybody is like, "Tu mera bhai, tu mera bhai." So I don't think they're ready to. So I think once things are a lot stable, then maybe the events will start off. And once they do start off, it's going to be a real task because this virus originated from one person and is spread across the world. So, even though we come down, once there's like a complete, the graph flatlines, we still cannot be taking that risk because you cannot cater an event of 15 to 30 people and call it a weekend. You know, that is a house party.
Right. So, growing in this scene, who has been your role model and who has taught you a lot about the music journey?
Uh, like I said, I never had any godfather, and I've just learned it myself slowly but surely. There have been a little helpers here and there, but I try to do it myself and learn myself. Apart from that, my best friend. She's been in the PR industry for a very long time, and she was the one who gave me a boost towards picking up my first full-time job, and then branching out into Rasta and getting into the whole music scene. She played a very important role. So if I would say I was to have a godfather, I'd say yeah, she was my godfather.
Great, great. And what would be a suggestion to artists and new people in the industry? Because the people are now using online mediums to promote themselves, and they are now slowly forgetting about the thing that we should network in this industry. So, what do you think about the quote "network is your network"?
Network is your network. That's very true. But uh, yeah, to be honest, see, during this pandemic, since we've had so much time for ourselves, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have tried to pick up a new skill, brush old skills. I tried to do the same. I picked up a couple new skills, and a lot of aspiring DJs and steady DJs, I'm sure they must have used this time, to really brush up on their music, add new music to their collection, clean up their collection, you know, uh, just studying their just studying their work. They should just use this time to meet new people virtually and get tips and ideas from their colleagues. Because together, when you all try to like help each other out, you can learn a lot more. Because sometimes you might be lacking ABC and the other person is skilled in ABC, and they could help you with the ABCs and you could help them with the DEF. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Just
right.
filling in the missing pieces of the puzzle.
Yes. So, how was your pandemic journey till now? Like, you lost a lot of weight, and
Yes,
you have
I'm
been
down 15 kgs and it's been amazing. I use this time to better myself, to understand myself, and read a lot. I got a lot of time to read because work has been really hectic for me for the last 4 years, and I've not really had the time to get back to how I used to read before. I used to read about a book in a day or two, and I'm trying to get back onto that, and I'm trying to do a lot of stuff on my own, start my own little empire.
great, great. So, like, this is it, and you can just uh, tell people where can they find you and how they can connect with you.
So you can connect with me on Instagram. It's Rosemary L Fernandez, and also on Facebook. You can connect with me. It's Rosemary Fernandez, and Twitter is Rosemary LF. You can follow me, and if you have any doubts, you can get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to help.
Yeah, great. Thanks for taking out time and recording
Anytime,
this podcast. Yeah.
anytime.